I have been using the Galaxy Watch 6 for a few years now, but after using the Watch 8 Classic at Unpacked, I thought it was time to actually upgrade. So in this video, we are going to be getting the Galaxy Watch 8, and we're going to be unboxing it and giving you my initial first impressions. So let's get going. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rafi and I am a doctor who makes content here about all things tech, travel, and tips and tricks. So if you want to lead your ideal nerd life, this is probably the channel for you. If you like these sort of unboxing and first impression videos, do consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on the next one. Now, let's get to the unboxing. Okay, I ended up getting the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic, which has this new squircle design and the hybrid band. So unlike before, there is no actual pull tab. There's a little plastic sleeve that you can take off, and here we are. This is the Watch 8. Not sure about this white face, but I decided to be a bit different. This is actually just a solid block. Little explainer, and these look like stickers. I'm not entirely sure. That's sticky, that's for sure. I'm not entirely sure what these are. On the other side of the lid, we have some paperwork and the charging cable. It is USB-C and it has like the standard charging puck. So it is interesting that the default box doesn't actually come with a watch band. They are separate. There we go. So here it is. This is the Watch 8 Classic. And it's very different to the Watch 6. I'm going to put it on side by side just to give you a bit of a comparison. First of all, this Classic now only comes in one size, which is the 46mm, as compared to the 43mm watch face that I was using on the Watch 6 Classic. It has a new squircle design, so there's a bit of a rounded off square with the rotating bezel at the front. When I first saw this, I wasn't actually a big fan because I was going from that straight circle to this new squircle design. But after using it for a couple of days, I realized that it bothered me less than I thought it would, and that more boxy base actually allows for a bigger battery, which is the reason I'm considering upgrading in the first place. The other notable thing is that the colors are now in that two-tone sort of a finish where there is a silver body with a white or black border on the watch face. This reminds me of the original Galaxy watches or the Galaxy Gears, which had the very similar sort of a color scheme. Other hardware changes in the Galaxy Watch 8, there is now a new action button in the middle that's reminiscent of the Watch Ultras, as well as the home and back buttons that have always been there, as well as a much bigger speaker grille. Of course, being the Classic, the rotary dial is back, which is one of my favorite features. It's a great fidget toy and a great way of interacting with the UI. The mechanism of how you attach and detach the clasps are also different, with a quick release button on the body of the watch itself instead of being on the band, which makes it very easy to actually attach and detach. Unlike the previous generation, which had little pins that would deploy, this time round, the actual straps fit into the body of the watch itself, which allows it to sit much more flush with the skin, allegedly giving you a better signal for the biosensors. On that note, the sensors have been upgraded as well with a few key new measurements that we will talk about. Overall, I think the design is new. I personally still prefer the plain circle look of the old Classic, but I understand that trade-offs have to be made. Now, let's talk about the new features. In addition to the usual sensors that the Classics and watches have had for a while, including heart rate, saturations, blood pressure, bioimpedance, etc., there are a few new additions this year. The specific ones they wanted to focus on during Unpacked was the antioxidant index. Now, I had to go looking to see what exactly this sensor does, and essentially, all the new features are a version of the biosensors that have been upgraded with some new wavelengths to detect specific things. The antioxidant index actually fires a frequency of light into your skin to look for carotenoids, which are substances found in vegetables and other healthy foods, just to see if there is more of a buildup. You access this sensor by actually turning on the feature and putting your thumb on the back of the watch itself, and it will give you a reading of either low antioxidants, aka eat more green fruits and veggies, moderate or high, so you've got a healthy diet. So another sensor it has is the Advanced Glycated End Products, or AGE index. This is a substance that's made when sugars combine with fats. Essentially, if your diet is high in fried foods or sugary foods, you will see a high AGE index. Again, it gives you a reflection of whether your diet is good or not. The last thing they wanted to talk about was the vascular load. Now, that requires you to actually wear the watch overnight, which I tend to not do, so I haven't actually seen the reading of it yet. Essentially, what it's looking at is your vascular load as you go to sleep. So unlike looking at VO2 max and all the other active measures, it's another measure of stress on the vascular system, as far as I can tell. Now, I haven't looked at the evidence base for any of these measurements, and I cannot tell you how useful they are, especially because I haven't actually seen my own measurements change because I've only had it for about a week. If you'd like to see what this is like over the long term, leave me a comment below and I might make a future follow-up video on my long-term thoughts. A couple of other little changes that have happened are to do with the software front. The watch now is running One UI 8, and one of the software features that I have yet to try as well is the new running coach. This feature asks you to go for a short run for about 15 minutes and then coaches you into becoming a regular runner. Now, I already run relatively regularly, so I want to see if this feature allows me to go from my usual short jogs of 2 to 3 kilometers into something a bit more involved, like a 5-kilometer run. Being One UI 8, the interface itself looks different, with that now bar style pill appearing more throughout the interface. Being a new watch with a fresh coat of paint in the user interface, there is of course a new processor and a bigger battery. Overall, compared to the Watch 6 Classic that I was upgrading from, the Watch 8 does feel significantly faster and snappier. Google's Assistant has now been replaced with Gemini, and you can invoke that with either a button or ask saying, "Hey Gemini." Now, I am going from an old 43mm watch face to a bigger 46 one, so the watch face itself is ever so slightly bigger. And as we've mentioned before, the battery size is actually significantly bigger than the one for the Watch 6 Classic at 43mm, going from about 300 milliamp hours to about 445. I have noticed that in my day-to-day use that the battery life has been amazing. I can go for a run in the morning, and by the time I'm putting it back on the charger with always on display on the watch face, I still have nearly 40-50% of the battery life left. Now, this is just the Bluetooth version. It does not have LTE on the watch, which also will help the battery life, but I'm pleasantly surprised at how well this is going. The software on the Watch 6 didn't have a low light watch face mode, which I think came during the Watch 7 series, and this continues on the Watch 8 as well. This is a high contrast, low light version which shows you all the crucial information on your given watch face. I have to say I quite like it. It makes it very easy to see all the important information when it's dark. So overall, what are my thoughts? Initially, I was put off by the new squircle design, but I have to say that it bothers me less than I thought. It's less polarizing for sure. I would still prefer it to be just a circular watch face because I feel like that looks more closer to a classic watch. The two-tone design is something that I was used to from having the original Galaxy Watch and Watch 2, but I prefer just a solid color scheme, whether it just be silver or black or anything else. The new interface for mounting the strap is nice. I do feel that the watch feels much more flush against the skin, so I have had less issues in terms of measurements when I do use the sensors. The battery life has been surprisingly great. The difference is nearly 50% for me. So still having a always on display on and doing my exercises earlier in the day, I still find that I have significant battery at the end of the day. So I will try to actually wear this overnight to see how this does. The speed and responsiveness is obviously improved, and that's always appreciated. And the new sensors do enable some new features, though how useful they are remain to be seen. Overall, the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic is a worthy upgrade, especially if you're looking for better battery life from your smartwatch. If you'd like to see a full in-depth review of all the features in the future, leave me a comment below and remember to like and subscribe. In the meantime, here's another video from Galaxy Unpacked 2025 right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.